Welcome to Chattin' with Chad, the show where we hop in the car, hit the road, and dive into real conversations with the folks behind Green Family Auto. No scripts, no pressure, just great conversations, great stories, and a few surprises along the way. So let's buckle up and hit the road. Hey, today we're back in the Silverado EV RST. We're gonna be riding around with Ivan Dull, our Corvette specialist here at Green Family Chevrolet. We're gonna talk a lot about Corvettes and maybe a few other things. Let's go. Okay, here we go. We've got Ivan with us. We've got Jarek with us as always in the back seat, handling the production of the show. So Ivan, let's get started with tell us a little bit about first of all how long you've been with us at Green, because I know you were selling cars before you got to us, but how long have you been at Green Chevrolet?
I've been here just over 17 years now.
Dang.
June was my 17-year anniversary with the Green Family dealerships, and it's been a good fit.
Well, that's fantastic. We love it. How long did you start selling Corvettes right away, or were you working for us for a couple of years before you kind of started specializing there?
I was the leading Corvette salesperson at my previous dealership.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say when I came over here right away I started selling them. Sold some used ones, but nothing like where we are today.
Yeah. So what got you into the car business? Where did you get started? Did you grow up as a car guy, or is it something that you kind of stumbled into and then?
I stumbled into working in the business. Growing up, I believe I was 14 when did like the first work that I ever did on a car, and it was my best friend in high school had a 67 Mustang that didn't have any brakes or anything, and we went out to a little town, Carbon Cliff, next to the dealership, and that was the first time I ever did anything with the car, and we completely did a brake job on it.
Okay.
When I say brake job, I mean master cylinder, brake lines.
Oh, you
made the lines,
not just changing pads.
Yeah,
and
not just pads or drums, like the full deal, because the car had nothing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got to test it, and you're 14 in Carbon Cliff, so
yeah,
that was interesting.
Yeah.
Really
Fun.
test it.
Yeah. Yeah. Did we bleed the brakes right? Do we even know what that means?
Yes.
Yeah.
We fortunately did bleed the brakes right,
Yeah.
but that is something that a lot of people don't know anymore.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, because I'm trying to remember back 17 years. Jarek, you were what, in like 8th grade 17 years ago?
Oh gosh, I can't do that math.
Okay. So 17 years ago, when you first got to Green, you were a Mustang guy.
I did have a Mustang.
Am I wrong about that?
You are not mistaken. I had when I came over here, might have been when I came over here, I had an F-150 Lightning.
Okay, I kind of remember that too.
And it wasn't long after that I picked up a 94 Mustang GT that had some very tasteful modifications done to it.
Yeah.
It was definitely a autocross track car setup.
So, like, before you really got into, selling a bunch of Corvettes and finding, that niche there and really taking off, I mean, you were a sports car guy to begin with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been, since 14 working on the car. And,
yeah.
That Mustang that I actually had, my dad had bought when I was like 14.
Okay.
And had sold it to my best friend in high school, the one that has a 67. And then his family went through a couple of his brothers, and then his family sold it back to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I was always, stick shift, performance cars, any chance I could. I wanted to do that.
So when you got to our store, you gravitated towards that anyway. Like,
correct.
I think it's interesting. You get different salespeople. They're passionate about different things, and the beauty of selling Chevrolet is we sell a brand that there's a lot of things to be passionate about. Mm-hmm. But me too. When I was a kid, man, it was all about Corvette. I love them all, but I was so into that. And I remember first getting to the dealership, which I've got a couple years on you, but not much. I've just hit 20, so 20 years. I'm like, just point me over to the Corvettes and I'll stand over here and talk to people about them all day, right? Like that's what I want to be around, because I feel like if I'm selling one, nobody's going to care if I'm driving it, right?
Yeah.
So then you get started working for us. We kind of took off as well. We had a couple other guys, obviously, that worked for us that are passionate about the vehicles too. So we started building our brand up. When you first got there, I'm going to say we were probably just at the beginning of that. We were not selling. We might not even been selling the most Corvettes in the Quad Cities, but we were probably getting closer. So that starts to take off. You're selling those cars. Is it easier to sell something like that when you're into the car?
Oh, I definitely think for the most part, if you have enthusiasm with whether it be a Corvette or any of the product line, it does make it easier.
Yeah.
Because you can retain your knowledge better if you're into something. It just, the overall effect. And if it's something that you're not into, it's just hard to have your enthusiasm. It's hard to create excitement. We got a dump truck going by. I don't know anything about a dump truck.
Yeah.
And I don't have the excitement for it, but I'm sure there are people out there, and that's why they would excel in something like that.
Do you think it's different with a vehicle like Corvette, where you're like, okay, I mean, we all can like Malibus, right? And we can be like, hey, it's a great car and I love it. There's not as many people out there that are like, oh man, I can't wait to see the new Malibu, right?
Yeah.
There might be a Malibu club, but it's probably for a 60s version of the car, right? So like we can be passionate about the brand and sell that, but the customer that comes to us, it's rare that we're going to get somebody that's going to be super excited about just Malibus in general, right?
Yeah.
Corvette's a different story.
Absolutely.
So when you have a customer that comes to you, you get a lot of people that refer people to come talk to you. Do you think that's because you're passionate about the brand, you know a lot about it, and they're not just talking to somebody who isn't excited? I mean, is that, do you think, what plays into it?
I think that definitely plays a lot into it. Having the passion for the brand, the knowledge for the brand, and fortunately being able to be around the brand and experience it hands-on definitely creates a whole different environment. And when selling a Corvette versus, say, a Malibu, you're selling a Corvette for, maybe an achievement in somebody's life.
Yeah.
Maybe a status, or it could just be that's what they've always dreamed of. It could be their dream that they're finally able to achieve.
Right.
I remember years ago I sold a Corvette, and a client of mine insisted on bringing $20,000 cash. And I sat there and I said, please just bring us a check.
Right.
I don't need the cash. Bring us the check. And they absolutely insisted on it. And this was maybe this was an early Corvette sale for me. I had to ask him when the deal was done. I said, why did you insist on bringing this cash? And the gentleman looked at me and he goes, well, for the past 30 years, every time I've got a bonus at work, I put $100 in the safe, $100 in the safe. This is 30 years of hard work for me, and I finally got this dream of mine that I wanted. And that's where, like, selling a Corvette, you can get a different type of excitement out of the client, and you want to mirror that and make the experience as great as possible.
Right.
And having enthusiasm for the product allows me to do that, I feel like.
Yeah, that's like such a cool thing. That's like one of the things about a vehicle like that, where you're like, I get to partake in these types of experiences. People who are like, well, I finally retired and this is my present to myself. I've worked my whole life, or I've been passionate about these cars for years, haven't been able to afford one. Now I'm finally getting to do it. And I think that's one of the reasons too, where you get more than any other vehicle, somebody that wants to specifically order their car the way they want it, versus like, oh, well, you have one in stock, I'll just take it, which obviously we sell those too. But you get a lot more people that are like, no, I want to go through the whole process and order it, because it is a milestone, an achievement to buy the car.
Yeah, they may have been waiting a few years, and they may have been waiting 20, 30 years to get it. So if you sit there and say we can do an order and it's going to take a few months or 6 months or, however long it may take, the times now went down a little quicker.
Right.
They're definitely a lot more apt to say, no, I'll wait to get exactly what I wanted, because I've worked for this for 20 plus years, and I don't want to settle at this point.
Right.
Whereas your other product line, you sit there and you're like, yeah, it's great to get a new truck or it's great to get a new Malibu.
Right.
People don't typically wait that long to do it. It's not that milestone achievement for them.
Right. Yeah, Jarek drives an old beat up Ford F-150 because he's putting those bonuses in the safe so he can get that Corvette, right? Is that right, Jarek? Maybe not a good family car. That's probably the problem.
That's a real problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you back to where you got started. You started as you had that Mustang, and I remember you were the Mustang guy. Now you've got what? You still have 2 Corvettes?
No, I have a 23 Corvette.
Okay. So you got, what was it 17?
Yep, I had a 17 Z06.
And you sold that?
I did sell that car. It was a great car. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Just really hard to justify at this point having 2 Corvettes, and I don't have the space for it either.
Yeah.
So it was a chance that I got to enjoy it, and now somebody else has the opportunity to enjoy that car.
And you got the 23 C8.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember. Did you go to the factory and get that car?
I did.
So what was that experience like, going down to pick it up?
Yeah, it was a great experience. They do a wonderful job down there. I was able to take my dad with me, so it was a great experience in that respect too. Again, my buddy from high school, he came down from northern Minnesota, went down there to get the car. My dad went with me. The way that they do it, they really give you, first class treatment. I was fortunate the factory had opened back up, so I actually got to go through the factory. About a 3, maybe 4 hour tour of the factory, watching the cars get built, which was very impressive.
I went down to do the delivery on another guy's car, and the factory was closed, and it's like, I really want to see him get built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said leave your phones in the car because if we catch you taking a picture, we'll kick you out.
Yeah.
Which I had no problem with that. Understand they got proprietary private information, everything in there that they don't want out.
Right.
But they just did a first class operation the whole way through, going through the factory, and then upon taking delivery of the car, they have one person that's specialized for you. So they give you that great delivery experience. Everything about it was fantastic. Would highly recommend it.
Did you really test out your delivery person? Did you really quiz him? Like, I know more than you do. I sell these things and deliver them all the time, and like really push him and make him uncomfortable.
So I kind of did the opposite of it.
Played dumb.
Yeah.
No, I let him know that I did all that. And when I got done with my stuff, I said, I brought my dad down here. Why don't you ignore me? Put my dad in the car.
Yeah, that's
and pretend like he's buying the car.
Yeah.
Give him a bit of the experience. I listened in. He had a couple things he brought up that I thought were nice pointers.
Yeah.
That I have carried over into some of my deliveries. But I don't know. The whole museum delivery for me was about getting the car, but it was also every bit of it that made it special was being able to take my dad down there with me.
Yeah.
Being able to take my best friend from high school with me, and just other people getting to experience it with me, because it truly was kind of a milestone for me to buy a new Corvette.
Yeah, for sure.
I at that point had, I guess about 14 and a half years here.
Yeah.
It was like my own reward for, it was literally, ironically enough, I didn't know it at the time, but it ended up being the 100th C8 Corvette that I had ordered with Green Chevrolet.
Okay, that's cool.
So, that all of it just kind of lined up, and I was like, it's just a cool deal to experience that.
For sure. You get to do the experience where you went and did the racing, right? The Corvette racing school.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm trying to remember, you get, as a C8 owner, you get a discount to go do that. Is that right?
You do. I believe the price of it is still $1,000 to do it. So you get about a $3,500 discount on that package. It's a 2-day driving school. Anybody that gets the opportunity to do it, whether you are going to autocross it or never get it off of great pavement, would highly recommend doing it.
Yeah.
Some of the things that they show you just makes you realize how capable the car is of doing way more than we will ever get out of the car.
For sure.
It just really, it was almost eye-opening as to how impressive the handling and the different way the traction control works and just everything about the car. It's like a giant go-kart when you get out there, and I can't really put into words how it is until you experience it, but highly would recommend it if anybody gets the chance. And I think it makes you a better driver of the car, even if you're not, driving it, as they say, enthusiastically or racing it.
Jared, do you think we could justify a Chattin with Chad where we went to Vegas to shoot it while we were running around the track?
I don't know. I'll ask the boss sometime.
Okay, find out. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah.
So you've got the 23.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have the other car?
I do still have my Viper.
Okay, that which we shall not name because this is a Chevy podcast. Yeah. We don't want to be talking about non-Chevrolet performance vehicles.
Non-GM products.
So tell us a little bit. Is it a 94?
You are correct.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a Gen 1 Viper. Bought it about 14 years ago, I believe. 36,000 miles. I got a little over 46,000 on it now. In 94, the Gen Runs, they were all Target top cars. So the day I bought it, I couldn't stand the look of the canvas top on it. So I took it and put it on a shelf, and I've never put it back on the car.
Yeah. So it's all that one truly is a beautiful weather vehicle.
Yeah. How do you choose when to drive it?
It's going to be a day that I expect to be nice, and
he checks the weather 19 times.
and I've been caught a few times in it. It gets very interesting when you get caught in the rain in it. As a matter of fact, up here just a little bit. One time I was coming into work for just a couple hours, so I said I was going to drive the car, and I got caught between two trains in a rainstorm. So that was fun. You just sit there and get drenched, and nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we got a detail shop, so I cleaned it up right when I got here.
Now that car was like built to be, basically a race car on the street. Is the interior somewhat sparse, like where you got rained on, but it's not like, it's easier to clean up? Or is it?
There's not much to the interior of the car. The seats are leather / vinyl, so you could wipe those down. I took the original floor mats out of it when I bought it because I didn't want to wear them, and put some aftermarket Lloyd's mats in it. No power windows or locks. As a matter of fact, I don't even have outside door handles.
Yeah.
Radio didn't get wet at all, so I didn't have to worry about that. You just basically kind of like, I guess, a Jeep. Somebody's got a Jeep without a top.
Yeah.
You
they don't have the extra stuff.
You just need to keep your umbrella in there with you and be driving around and holding the umbrella.
Get one of those hats that's got a built-in umbrella.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That car, does that car have side pipes?
It does have side pipes.
Okay.
So you have to, if you drive that car on a warm day, that car gets really, really warm because you got the big transmission. Yeah. And then you got your side pipes, so all that heat just bellows on the inside. So, like Jarek was asking, it's got to be like really nice days. It also can't be really hot days, like a day like today where we got 90 degrees. I'm about 105 in that thing. So yeah, definitely. It's good for short runs. It's fun for that. A day like today, the Vet would go every time.
Yeah. Right. Because you're like, you might get a little bit, but you're going to be fine.
Yep.
Yeah. So the old truck that I have does not have air conditioning. Yeah. And it's like, you'll take it out and you get going and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. And then you hit a stop sign or a stop light. You're sitting there for a second and it's like, I'm sweating in 3 seconds. So yeah, it's like 675 is like, okay, that's good. And we get over that, I'm like, it's probably not a good day for the truck. Yeah,
they're, again, comfortable for a quick little run.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like you said, I've been stuck at a light before in it. It's not much fun when you do
that. Is it what's that thing? It's a manual 5-speed?
6-speed.
Is it a 6-speed?
Yep, 6-speed manual, V10. It's a 400 horsepower car, but 480 torque.
Yeah.
Which makes a big difference.
Right. Has it? Have you had any issues with it mechanically?
Very, very little.
Yeah. Because I would think like it'd be hard to find somebody that knows how to work on that engine, really.
Yeah, it's well.
Chad really
kind of
wanted you to say that. I've had all kinds of problems.
major problem. Well, the thing about the motor of it is it's a combination. The injection's Lamborghini, so that part of it's a little bit complicated. But the motor itself is just a big truck block.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so in terms of like people being able to work on it, it's a very simplified car on it.
Yeah.
That being said, I really hope I need to find some wood or something here because I really hope I don't run into something because there's not many. I've taken it to shops before, where people have looked at it and been like, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah. Well, it's like the the ZR1 Corvette from the 90s, the C4 ZR1.
Yeah.
It had a engine built by, I think, Mercury Marine, right?
That is
so
correct,
it's like it's not a GM engine. It's rare. Not a lot of people necessarily knew how to work on them. They're not like necessarily problematic. They have a couple of things that are problems with them, but they're hard to find parts for. They're hard to find anybody that knows how to work on them. And so, it's just like you get a car like that, and then you always have that thing in the back of your mind, like, I want to make sure I really take care of it because what would I do if there was a problem, right? And, so with a car like a Viper, it's like, man, it's a super cool car, but if something goes wrong with it, versus a Corvette, where, sometimes you hear people talk about Corvettes where it's like, well, everybody has a Corvette, and it's like, yeah, okay, but I can also get it worked on. There's parts galore, like there's no challenge with any of that kind of stuff, so it's a little bit of the trade-off.
And like if I'm talking about the Viper and the parts, like you're saying, anytime you do need a part for the car, it's like 4 times the cost of anything else. Like I need to replace the covers for the door handles on the inside. We're talking a 3-inch piece of plastic by 2 inches, and they're like $70 a piece.
Yeah, you need a 3D printer.
I was gonna say you need to find a high school kid with a 3D printer.
Yeah, right. Maybe that's what I need to do. I didn't even think about that, and I know people with 3D printers, so I might look into that.
I'll tell you this: it's kind of interesting. So I read and hear a lot of stuff in aviation because I'm a pilot, fly a plane, and anyway, but like there's a lot of old planes flying, right? But there's not as much support, and so what they end up with is a lot of situations where they get these old planes, they want to keep them in the air, they have to start manufacturing their own parts, and stuff like 3D printing is starting to become a really big deal because they can make the part, and in some situations probably better than what it originally was. And and they can make it exactly right, so you're not like trying to fit some goofy aftermarket part to it. This is exactly what it was like when it came out of the factory, and so that's becoming a bigger deal. Like we might see some of that in the auto industry too, where some of these aftermarket companies start recreating original parts that way and can do it cost effectively. So
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. So we need to find somebody with a 3D printer that knows how to work it, and we can start doing this.
Yeah.
We'll just start building our own cars. That would be cool.
I think it's funny how you say about the 3D printer, and I don't know how this even popped up, but it was a thing that popped up on where bumpers are being made by 3D printers.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I didn't actually read the article to go into the details of it. I just had seen it pop up on a news feed, and I just curious about it, but I didn't take the time to read it. Wasn't that curious, I guess.
Stay tuned for 3D printed parts for Green Family Auto. So all right, so cars, obviously you're passionate about that. The other thing that you're into, which I'm just gonna say this as a compliment, I feel like the things you get into, you're into them. You're you really become an expert. Golf, big golfer.
I do enjoy golfing.
Play a lot of golf. Are you good at golf?
I tell everybody I'm okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm currently sitting at a 9 handicap. I've been down to a 7.5.
It's pretty good.
Statistically, it's pretty good. In my book, I'm okay.
Yeah. Jarek, what's your handicap?
My handicap is I don't play golf.
Oh, that is a handicap. My handicap is, what's the max handicap?
ooh, I don't know, 36 maybe?
Oh, okay. Well, better than that. I had like a 22 handicap.
Yeah.
But I haven't played in a year, so I need to get back out there, start swinging the clubs. But so how often do you play?
I try and get out at least twice a week.
Yeah, that's a decent amount.
If I have an evening, I might go out and play a little bit in the evening as well.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll get more than twice a week. I used to play a little bit more, just have other things that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
That take up some of the time, but yeah, twice a week.
Yeah, that is one of the challenges with golf. It is takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So we've got here in the Quad Cities, we've got the John Deere Classic, big professional golf tournament coming up. It's kind of a big deal around here because we don't have any other professional sports. So what are you planning to go out there? Are you going to check it out? Or
I don't know if I'll make it out there. I've been out there a few times. Definitely enjoy it. It's a great venue. A great thing for the Quad City area, a great fundraiser for the Quad City area. And from a spectator standpoint, it's a very good spectator course to watch stuff because you can get closer than you can at a lot of the other events. Exciting this year. I believe Ricky Fowler has committed to come out here and play. So that's a nice pickup for us.
Max Homa.
Max Homa? Oh, nice.
Yeah, another guy that, they announce all this stuff. And you're like, oh, these guys are coming. And then like a week before, it's like, oh, yeah, he's not coming anymore. You're like, okay, well... So I don't know if it's official, but yeah, a couple of big names actually are playing in it this year. So that's exciting. Have you been to other professional golf tournaments?
I played courses that played on, but not actually. I've not actually been a spectator.
So it's funny. One of the things that so Chevy sponsored the John Deere Classic. Several years ago, we provided the cars for it. It's like the first time I ever went to it. It was, a cool event. And then, so we've been going like kind of every year. And, when you talk to golfers, I'm always like, oh, hey, we got tickets to the John Deere Classic. And it's like about 50-50, I feel like, on who's takers and who's not.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times, like, because they're like, well, I'm going to be playing golf, so.
and that's, I do run into that because it'd be like Sunday. I have group that I normally play with on Sunday mornings, so then I'll go do that, and then I could go out there and I could catch the big part of the tournament, I guess, the finish of it.
Right.
But on the flip side of it, sometimes if it's super hot out, I'm like, I'm just gonna go watch that on TV, and I'm gonna be lazy about it. It's just, you get to see more too.
Right, for sure.
But it's something different when you are there and you see the pros hit, and you hear the way that the drivers crack when they hit it, and just the way that they talk with their caddies. I mean, there's some really cool things when you get to see that in person that you don't experience the same on TV no matter what you say.
What do you think you would shoot if you played TPC?
In tournament conditions or?
Not tournament conditions like there's a crowd watching you and all that, but like, the course is set up and you're going to play.
I would like to... If I was just playing under normal conditions, I would like to think that I would be in the low 80s to mid 80s.
Ooh.
If I'm playing it the way that the pros will play it, and assuming we don't get a bunch of rain to where it's soft, if I broke 92, 93, I'd probably be happy.
Dude, I've played that course. It's a beautiful course. I've played it multiple times. I'm like, if I broke 110, I'd be like, hey, I was hitting them good today, right? You guys see that one I hit on 9, just right down the middle? So I'm impressed if that would be what you would shoot out there. But I know it's not like the most challenging course for the pros either. They usually are shooting pretty low numbers.
Yeah, and especially if we get a little rain, it gets soft for them, and they can really do some damage in terms of scores.
Well, another Quad City institution is Whitey's Ice Cream.
Yeah.
If you watched the first episode, Steve and I went and got some ice cream. This month, because of the John Deere Classic, they have a John Deere Classic flavor.
Okay.
What do you think? Should we go get that?
I'd be willing to try it.
Oh, okay. Jarek?
Let's go.
All right. Now, Jarek doesn't eat ice cream, but we're going to force it down. Yeah. He's like, oh, no, I got to work out later.
In the fitness regimen?
No,
I'm allergic to about everything under the sun.
Oh. Well.
Lactose.
I think they do have a dairy-free kind.
They do have dairy-free,
Yeah, absolutely.
So the other thing that they do, if you go to the tournament out there, which you can probably get this at the store too, but they have this thing called a Cherry Ace, and they take it's like the red slushy, and they put that in there, and with vanilla ice cream.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, okay, that sounds good. It is awesome. Like, okay,
Yeah.
but it's this big, and it's 18,000 calories. I don't know if that's true. I'm not trying to throw shade at Whitey's here. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna have an asterisk on it.
I might not. It's probably not.
This was not fact checked.
Yeah, but when I'm out at the tournament and it's hot, it's like, all right, hook me up with one of those Cherry Aces. Hey, is that the John Deere Classic flavor? Is it good?
I don't know. I haven't tried
Oh, okay. Well,
it. It looks good.
it looks good.
Yeah.
We're gonna try it. This is your present for 17 years.
All right.
Single
It's better
scoop.
than nothing.
Yeah, at 34 years, you get 2 scoops. So, be right around the corner.
For you.
Perfect.
The dairy free.
Thank you.
And the other John Deere Classic.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Look
Thank
at
you.
that.
All right. And we're back. We've got our John Deere ice cream. We're about to try this out. Jarek's back there eating his dairy-free ice cream.
It's fantastic.
Is it good?
It's really good.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's like, well, why can you make that?
Right.
Right? It doesn't even make sense, but they do.
I don't know if this is like a lemon lime sherbet, but it's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Like a Sprite?
Sure.
Okay.
That's
That's exciting.
I'm a starry person. No.
Yeah. Let's see how this
I didn't
is.
like that Sierra Mist brand, so
Yeah, Sierra
they
Mist.
changed it to Starry.
Yeah, come on, Sierra Mist. That was a major fail. All right, let's see here.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's like it's got a stronger lime flavor than like a Sprite or Sierra Mist.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty good.
We need to add a segment to the show and ranking ice cream flavors.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What was it? The Mississippi Mud that you went in there and ordered like 50 scoops of it
Yeah.
the one time when they had the,
Yeah, you did
the
that.
What did we
fundraiser
do
deal?
that for? I do
'Cause
remember that.
They
Yeah.
were like half of the proceeds was going to.
We had a
something. I
flood
don't
that
remember
year,
what-
I think.
Maybe that's
right?
what it was.
We had a flood.
There you go.
So they did the Mississippi Mud, and then a bunch of the proceeds were going to flood relief or
Yeah.
whatever.
And we just
So-
went in there and bought
Yeah.
a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
It was a day about as warm as today too.
Yeah.
Had to
Yep.
take a cooler to make sure it was
Right.
kept
Walked
cool for
around
everybody.
handing them out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had to scoop all those out by hand.
I'll try to find it and link it in the comments.
Yeah,
No.
I'm sure it exists.
Oh, it's out there. I watched it.
Yeah, this is quite refreshing.
Yeah.
So, Ivan, as a Corvette guy, you talk to all these Corvette guys. They all know everything there is to know about the car, so you got to know all this stuff. How far back does your product knowledge go?
Good product knowledge, I would say, is gonna start with 6th generation car. That was when I got in the business back in 04.
Okay,
My knowledge on those is
brain freeze.
like moderate. 7th generation, I know those quite well. I mean, the 8th generations. Outside of some of the pricing changes, I could pretty much narrow those down. If you put a car in front of me and give me 5 minutes of looking at it, I feel like I can hit 95% of the options.
What's the in my mind the thing that like I was always like, oh, I got to know all these stats, but I got to know the horsepower. Everybody wants to know what's the horsepower. You remember like, hey, 2010 Corvette Z06. What's the horsepower rating?
2010, that would have been a 7-liter. So that car would have been 505 for horsepower. What's nice about that car, though, I mean, the horsepower is great, but that car has a lot of torque early on.
Yeah.
So it's a very enjoyable car to drive, in my opinion, on the street. Even like if I compare it to like my 17 Z06, because that thing had the supercharger on it,
Right.
versus going back to like a 10 Z06, they were just different animals with it.
Right.
And I actually like that torque the way that it is just on the street better than that supercharger.
Those cars were awesome.
Yeah.
That C6 Z06 was an awesome car.
It was one of the early deals that I did here, and I think you were doing finance at the time. You may remember this deal, you may not.
Yeah.
But I sold a yellow Z06.
Okay.
I believe it was an 07, could be wrong on the year. But it had a Lingenfelter package on it. So it had a cam and it was 636 horsepower. We sold it to a gentleman that split time in Iowa and Missouri.
Okay.
And you had done the paperwork on it. And I just remember, like, when I came over here and I saw that car, it was just an absolutely incredible car to me.
Yeah.
Because it had this big cam and a very lumpy motor.
Yeah,
At that point, I wasn't driving those cars.
Yeah.
Right? I was a little early on to where I didn't have free reign to go out and take them. But, you know, I guess back to a little bit like you're talking about that 10.
Yeah.
Then I think it was 11 they came out with a ZR1, which was the supercharged motor. And I believe that was 636 for horsepower. I might be off on that. But depending on where people raced them, on a short track, the Z06 would beat the ZR1 because of that torque and being able to get out of turns quicker. Whereas the ZR1, any track that hit a long straightaway would just eat it alive. But
Right. So the so what'd you say? Like, what year? Like C6 is where your product knowledge really
that was
starts
when
to pick up.
when I started selling them and learning different trim levels and everything like that. If we talk C4s, I don't know much. The C5s, a little bit around them.
What's the C8s? What, 490? Is it 490?
490 or 495, depending on what exhaust it has on it.
It's amazing how, you know, you start to get up to these horsepower ratings and it's like they don't get a whole lot more impressive with a bunch more horsepower. Although now we've got the ZR1, 1,000 horsepower or whatever, right? It's like,
we're
there's
four digits of horsepower now.
There's areas where that would be incredible and impressive, but like at 495 horsepower in just a base C8 Corvette, most people are going to be like, this is awesome. This is incredible. This is all the power I need.
Yeah, I have yet to feel like I need more power than the 495, and I feel like I can drive the car pretty decent.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to go to the school a couple times. Anybody that's rode in the car with me, if I do happen to get on it, I haven't been like, oh, that's not much. I mean, you get the feeling of it, not only acceleration, but the way that they handle. That's where it really throws people off of how quick you can take a turn, and they feel like they're gonna, maybe follow the car, but they're planted into it.
I remember a big deal. I think it was at the C5, where they were talking about they achieved 1G on a skid pad, right? It's like, I mean, some of that stuff's more important than how much power's behind the car. Is like how well it can handle. It all depends on what you're doing with the car. But this thing has like 1,000 horsepower.
Yes, it does. But it's got the torque too.
Yeah.
And that's where this thing gets so impressive off of a launch.
Right.
I mean, it throws you back probably every bit as hard as a Corvette because of the all-wheel drive setup and the torque that electric motor. And the beauty of electric is it's there right now, all the time.
Yeah.
There's no waiting to get your power.
Right. That's what makes these things fun to drive, really. I mean, that instantaneous hit the gas and it goes. It doesn't have to shift. It's like it's right there. And obviously, of course, I still love shifting and I love all that, exhaust sound, engine sound, all that. I still love all that. But these are pretty cool. They're a lot of fun to drive. The difference between this with 1,000 horsepower and the Corvette with 1,000 horsepower is this also weighs like 9,000 pounds.
Yep.
So it needs 1,000 horsepower. What the Corvette goes back all the way to 1953. What's your favorite Corvette generation?
Boy, I knew you were going to ask me this question. And
it's typical. It's like, what do you ask Corvette guys? Everybody gravitates towards one generation, I feel like, over another.
I mean, it's going to be a little bit biased of it, but my dad, he has a 65 Corvette, and I've had the chance to drive that car a little bit. I do really like the lines on the coupes of that second generation car.
Yeah.
It's really hard to beat the current car, though.
Yeah.
And that's, I was thinking about this because I figured you'd ask me based off of Steve's interview, what my favorite car would be.
Yeah.
And my answer would have to be it varies. all the time. And I wish as a person I could just be like, this is exactly what I want. This is what I dreamed about or thought about. But to me, it varies significantly because there's something about getting in one of those older cars and driving them, and you are a driver when you're doing that. Like, no power steering, no power brakes on some of those cars. So you're sitting there driving a manual, and you got this steering wheel that's super, its diameter if it's big, but the actual wheel itself is tiny that you're grabbing onto, and it's just a whole different experience. So
that's weird when you get back in the old ones now. Yeah, it's like that's what we had for years, and then now you have these thick steering wheels, and you get in these old cars, and you're like, this is weird.
You can't figure out what you want to do. I'm like trying to pitch it with my fingertips. Am I rock climbing here or driving a car?
It's so weird.
But no, I definitely like those a lot. The C3s. Do like the big old fenders on those. I think they look really good. When I went to the C4s, they kind of didn't excite me as much, which I think is pretty much common. And then they've progressively gotten better and more sophisticated in that. It's tough to beat modern technology. I mean, you can't beat modern technology. It's the reality of it. But in terms of excitement and enthusiasm, there's something about getting in an old car and driving it and knowing that, hey, think about people. They would buy these and drive them daily. Yeah. And you get in these and you drive them for an hour, and you're like, man, I felt like I got a workout. Yeah. And
so is there something besides a Corvette? I mean, obviously I know I'm focusing on Corvette with you, but is there a car besides a Corvette that you'd be like, that if I could have anything, it would be this?
So I would say I would love to drive like an original style Ford GT. At some point. That would be something really exciting. I do know a gentleman that has one that's like a 90% replica where you got to take the steering wheel off to get in. Doing something like that would just be a crazy experience to think of, an American car that really went globally, competitively. That would be something really special to have an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that's my, and that, speaking of before, like talking about parts and stuff, like, there's a couple of companies that make replicas. There's a couple that make them that are like exact perfect replicas of the car, so you can actually still get those cars. But I always feel guilty about it because I grew up hating Ford. Yeah. But that is my all-time favorite. If there no other, like, you can buy one car, doesn't matter what the price is. Although if it doesn't matter what the price is, that changes it maybe. Yeah. There's maybe a Ferrari in there that I would take, but that Ford GT40. Yeah. Like that car's so cool.
I remember this was I think I was in high school when I'd seen this. There's a company out there called Beck, and they build Porsche replicas, Porsche Spider. Replicas, and I feel like I was like a junior in high school when I was up at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. This was right when the company was doing it, and the guy had one of those out there. So now you're seeing these, like, I'm no Porsche expert, but like these mid-50s Porsches, equivalent in, that was a car. I think maybe it was a 140 horsepower car, but it weighed nothing, and it'd just be a pure track car for handling. That wouldn't be up on like the top of my list or anything, but it was just, it's cool to see that people do some of that stuff and what's out there to do it.
That's cool. So you've got the C8 Corvette. So now we obviously know you like the C2. Is that like the C2? Is that the top? That's what you would pick? Or is it the C8? Or is there another one in there?
Well, I would say the next car that I said I was going to buy was going to be a 6th generation Z06 because I like the 7-liter motor and the torque that we talked about earlier. And I do believe at some point that will be the next car added for me. I just don't know when I'll get the right one or find the right one. But that's a car that is just, I look at that and I've got like my Viper, and then I have that car, and it's a step above it with the traction control and the ABS and some of the things that come with it. Right. But it's still just a raw, in my opinion, driver's car. Yeah. And that's something that I really enjoy is, feeling like I'm pushing myself on the road.
Right. Yeah, and those cars too, like C6 and C7 both, with when they went to the Z06 and they had the wider body and it's like they just looked awesome.
Yeah.
And which I kind of wish they would do this with the C8. I don't know if they'll do it or not, but when they went to and then you've got the Grand Sport, which basically gives you the body, but the regular Corvette engine. Especially with the C7s, we had so many of those, but it was like, man, I'd almost choose just the Grand Sport because it gives me all the look and everything. And here I got 490 horsepower. Do I really need any more? But if I was going back now to be like, okay, what's a car that I'm going to keep and collect? Well, I'm going to want a Z06.
Yeah, we're going to want to go to the next level with it. And that's probably, I would say right now, that's my next, I guess, goal of achievement.
Do you think like, 30 years from now, people will still be trying to collect that stuff?
Oh, I think the Z06s and stuff like that, absolutely. One of the things that personally attracts me to it is it's got the 7-liter motor in it. So the old saying, there's no replacement for displacement. You got the big block in there.
Right.
I mean, technically, I think it's still considered a small block, but it's 427. Cubic inch wise, 7-liter. After that car, we've had 6.2 liters are smaller.
Right.
Since then, 6.2 down to the 5.5 liter.
Right.
And it's just, there's something about having that bigger cubic inch that is just fun.
Yeah. Right. When you go back, when you look at a lot of the collectible cars from the 60s and 70s, everybody wants a big block. It's like we all want the big displacement. There's just something about it. So, okay, well, that was a great chat. Jarek, do you have any more questions?
No more questions.
No more questions? How was your dairy-free ice cream?
It's great. You'll have to tune in next month to see if I broke out in hives or crap my pants or anything.
Let's hope that.
Yeah, let's get you out of the car right now before that happens. So, till next time, this was Chattin' with Chad.